Sims, and we are back with more Code Realize Guardian of Rebirth, and our boys are back! Yay! The whole gang's back together! I feel so happy! It's like the end of Grease. We're all back together, guys! Anyway, so we're gonna keep going. There we go. How did you know we'd be here? Oh, we have the Count to thank for that. Saint Germain? I do have many connections. Saint Germain smiles and looks at Lupin and me. To rescue the Queen, that must have been a great ordeal. That could have possibly changed the course of history. You may not be aware of it, but the two of you did something truly beneficial for the world. I just tagged along. The one who did all the work was... I look up at Lupin. He notices my glance and smiles. Oh, I feel like he blushes a little like... bats his pretty eyes. Maybe like... makes a little noise. Giggle. Oh, hand on my cheek. Bashful. Plays bashful. What are you talking about? You did some amazing work too. He looks around at all the others. She's the one who saved Victoria amidst flying bullets and took her out of the palace. That's supposed to be Victor, not Victoria. Stop letting Tim the intern do this. He's ruining it. I'm serious. It's not cute anymore, Tim. Stick to doing your little, like, swishy things. God. What? Really? Then the real question here is, what exactly were you up to all that time? Lupin laughs as he begins to relate what he had done to the others. I am very happy. Of course, I'm happy to be able to see them all again. But most of all, I'm happy that Lupin acknowledged me. Of course he did, because he fucking loves you. God, we're so dense. I love us. I'm happy that I might have been able to return perhaps a small favor to repay all that he's done for me. Now, Lupin turns back to them. Let's talk about what to do next. One of my hideouts is nearby, so let's head there for now. Oh, I'm intrigued. I'd be interested in coming along. Lupin dismissively waves a hand at Sholmes, trying to shoo him away as he tags along. Still, we all follow Lupin. I've missed this. Before we went to the underground facility, this had been our normal life. Lupin would put together a plan, and everyone else would follow, and fall through because Sholmes would mess it up, and Lupin would cry and sulk for a while, and it was just magical. I mean, that's kind of what happened, you know. I stare at Lupin as we walk. The more he shows how reliable he can be, the more he extends his hand to me. For some reason, it all makes that tightness in my chest even greater. I sense someone's eyes on me, and I see Saint Germain looking at me with concern. Can you walk? Yes, I'm fine. In an instant, I put a smile on my face so as to keep him from worrying. But it's a fake smile. A small voice in my head whispers that a fake smile is the most appropriate for a doll like me. It's dusk by the time we arrive at Lupin's hideout. The light coming in through the small window is already vermilion tinted. I love that. I have a place not far from here. Like, and then 3 hours later. Here you go. Lupin. That's far. Deli and Spacey, who had stayed behind at the mansion, join us as well. They're likely relaxing in a separate room right now, along with Sholmes. This will be our hideout for a while. There's several rooms, so just choose whichever one you want. We're going to stay here? What about Saint Germain's mansion? Under these circumstances, it's safer to stay here than go back. We'll also need to cooperate closely with the government. This is the best place to call home base in terms of convenience. With that in mind, Lupin looks over at me. Spacey, tell everyone everything that's happened. You left alone without saying anything. You owe them all an explanation at the very least. Now, be a good girl and tell them why you ran off. This is your time to make amends for scaring us all terribly. I nod in response. First, I want to apologize. I'm sorry, everyone. What's past is past. I'm fine as long as you're sorry about it. He loves us so much. He loves us so much. Van Helsing replies in a quiet voice, and it seems everyone else is in agreement. I start to speak slowly, feeling thankful for their warmth. I tell them about how I went to my previous home in Wales to search for clues, alone, so as not to cause them any more trouble. I tell them about the notebook I found there, and the words Code Realize. I tell them about Lupin joining me, and Lupin's I'll kill you. I just can't get over it, I love it. And if you call her a monster again, I'll kill you. Oh, Lupin. So sexy. I tell them about Father's secret that lies beneath St. Paul's Cathedral. I tell them about how we learned about the revolt in London while on the train. We learned that Finnis had been behind everything. Then we had rescued the Queen and agreed to a cooperative relationship with them. I tell them all of this. After I'm done talking, they're all looking at me in shock. I love Van Helsing's shock face. It's really the Van Helsing. I mean, Saint Germain's shock face is pretty much his every face because he can't really show shock because his eyes are always closed. But I love Van Helsing's shocked face because his eyes are so big and like he just looks like a baby deer. Like everyone else is like shocked, but his are like he looks so innocent and like a little shocked kid, like like he's got this child face on. Like I love it. He's got this innocent little face. Like what? Oh no! It's just so out of character, and I think that's why I love it the most. What's the matter? Wow, you went through a pretty unbelievable adventure. Rescuing the Queen from a besieged castle. It's almost like a fairy tale. But we don't know how this fairy tale ends. Isn't that right, Lupin? Lupin nods and picks up where I left off. Yeah, Venice currently has the upper hand. It's only a matter of time before London falls. And if this civil war goes on, other countries may begin to take action. Attacked from both inside and out, this nation will be in quite a predicament. So that's why Victoria has called her forces together, to put an end to all this as quickly as possible. Lupin nods to Van Helsing, confirming his statement. The rebels won't amount to much trouble once we crush Twilight, so we're all going in to cut the head off the snake. The enemy's home base is in St. Paul's Cathedral. You all are going to assault it using the troops that Victoria's gathered. In the meantime, Spacey and I will enter St. Paul's using the confusion of the attack as cover. Then, we'll bring all the secrets to light. I nod along with him, but a small part of me still has doubts. Maybe I don't want to find the truth. I'll give up on trying to cure my poison. But I also feel that something needs to change. I have to make up my mind and go for it at some point, and I suppose now is that time. I'll say it up front that this mission is extremely dangerous. Your lives will truly be on the line. If you're not willing to face that, then stay behind. Nobody moves an inch. Of course they'll stick around. I feel like I could hear them all saying that. It would be really funny if they're like, yeah, no, I'm out. Yeah, okay, look, guys, good. Ireland? Sounds good. Yeah, let's go. You guys, it's reassuring, but I'm also anxious. Like, oh, you're fighting for me. They're not really fighting for you. They're kind of fighting for their own country, so it's kind of like, I mean, sure, there's you in there, but bigger picture here. It's reassuring, but I'm also anxious, yeah. My heart is filled with a mixture of both joy and nervousness. Spacey, it looks like everyone's in. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? I hesitate for a moment, then say, I love you all! I'll miss you most of all, Scarecrow. We're supposed to say thank you. But I'm going to save this, and we're going to choose the other thing. Boop, boop, boop. Is it really all right? I whisper to myself without thinking. They're all getting involved because of me. I feel a hand on my shoulder. I glance up to see Lupin looking down on me kindly. This isn't just about you. It's definitely linked to that terrorist plot that I've been chasing. There's no point in talking about who should be involved in what. I'm taking part in this out of my own volition. As long as Finis lives, I have a duty to continue after him.
As for me, let's see. I simply don't want innocent people to be victims. I suppose I'm not the type to try to save the world. But I would be glad if I could be of some help.
Well, I don't really have any personal reason to help, but you might find out how to treat your poison, right? Then I'll help. I just want to see you smile from the bottom of my heart.
Aw. Everyone is looking at me, each with a different expression. Their warm words spread throughout my heart. It's settled then. It's important to set aside your doubts at times and just take the helping hands extended to you. I nod in return. Thank you, everyone. They all look back at me with smiles. Okay, so now we'll go back. Whoop. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Back. Load.
All right, here we go.
I hesitate for a moment, then say, I'm sorry for getting all of you involved. I know that it's really my own personal issue, but thank you. I really need all your help to keep moving forward.
I've always had my own objective. There's no need for you to feel sorry over it. Isaac's secret, perhaps the reason behind Finis's immortality, will become clear once we find out.
There may be a clue as to how your poison can be treated as well. I'll stick with you until the end, of course.
And I'm the world's greatest engineer, as well as a warrior of love. So what does that mean? Spacey, it means I would die for you. Too much, Impey. Especially because Lupin's our boyfriend. Wow. That's rough, dude. That's really rough. Anyway.
Count me in as well. This is an unprecedented event in the history of mankind. I shall do my best to help if it means I can spend this unique experience with you all. Lastly, Lupin stands in front of me. My pretty mademoiselle, for you, this gentleman thief and his gang will make the impossible possible. He goes down on one knee. Ah! I know he's not proposing, but let's just, and gently extends his hand. Oh my god, can we just get a CG of this? If you would be so obliged to accept our offer, please take my hand. His voice and words have always made me smile. I know very well that these theatrical acts of his are always filled with kindness and consideration. Even now, it feels like I'm wrapped up in his kindness. I gently put my hand out and Lupin takes it. He smiles, then lightly kisses the back of my hand. Oh, I got him in a faint. Midnight. I leave my room and go out into the street to look up at the sky in a daze. All of London is currently at war, and yet the sky above us remains as calm as always. But it probably won't be long before Victoria commands an all-out assault on St. Paul's. And that will also be the moment I find out about my secret. I want to get rid of this poison. I want to be human, not a monster. Although a part of me feels this way, I don't want to know. I want to run away. Another part of me feels differently. Stargazing. I hear a voice from behind. Saint Germain stands there, smiling. I couldn't sleep. I'm not looking at the stars, just looking. I see. I understand that you may feel unsettled, considering what's about to take place. Emotional balance is important. What are you doing here? 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 Saint Germain hesitates, then looks over at me. His smile seems somewhat melancholic, though I don't know why. I was looking for you, Miss Spacey. Me? Why? I stiffened slightly, thinking that the mission might already be about to begin. You can relax. There's just someone I'd like you to meet. You want me to meet somebody? I wonder who it is. I have no idea who he might be bringing in at this moment, but I sense that he's debating something. Shall we take a walk? It would be nice if you could bear with me for just a little while.
I agree to his suggestion, and we begin walking. Although the one thing I will say about his path, it was really weird and fucked up, and he was stabby, but like just his emotion at trying to save us. When he went from being his normal stoic self, and he has his little glass face, and he's like a doll, and he wears a mask, and then and it was just like, oh, it still breaks my heart. Like the amount of emotion in him trying to save us was really just kind of, because it's such a drastic change from what we're used to. I just, it's a nice touch. I like it. I'm just thinking about that in my head when he shows up, you know? As soon as we begin walking, I notice something. I feel like the way Saint Germain walks, and the way his footsteps sound, seem to strangely lack his usual elegance. What's the matter, Saint Germain? Is something bothering you? I can't help but ask him, and Saint Germain lets out a small sigh. Are you able to read people's minds? It's not that. I was just a little worried. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine. It's true, my heart is restless, for the first time in a long, long while. Why now, then? It's your fault. What? Saint Germain grimaces and continues. And it's also likely due to all the others I've been surrounding myself with. Yeah, this is a creepy alley, Saint Germain. Are you going to stab us? Because this is not cool. He slowly begins walking again as he speaks to me. You're supposed to be our friend. Long ago, man was banished from paradise. God deemed us unworthy of his grace. What is this all about? She's like, what is with the Bible class? Can we not? Dude, Saint Germain, I'd rather go to sleep. She's like, oh. Oh, I didn't ask for this. It's not Sunday. Basically, it is called original sin. Since then, we humans have continued to seek forgiveness. Forgiveness from God? Yes, so that he may someday forgive our sinful souls, living each day hoping for God's mercy. That is the history of humanity. I don't really understand, but will God forgive us one day? I suppose. Only God really knows. Saint Germain smiles and continues. I see Spacey's eyes glazing over. Like, we must move forward on the correct path if we are to achieve salvation. Salvation? Correct path? She's like, I feel like I've heard this all before, but... And then the weird thing is I feel like you're going to stab me. I love you, Saint Germain, but I'm not 100% sure I trust you. I'm like only like 98%. I'm like 89% trusting of you. There's some wiggle room there. Yes, the correct path of history. But humans are weak and make mistakes. There is a devil living in our hearts, always tempting us towards making mistakes. That's why there must be someone to watch human history and correct these errors. Look, mistakes are a natural part. And getting stabby is, well, that's a mistake. That's a choice that you made to be dickish. Just saying. Saint Germain's tone is very serious. What is he trying to tell me? Saint Germain, what are you talking about? She backs away slowly. Are you going to stab me? Because I feel like you're going to stab me. I know he probably isn't, because I would just be ridiculous, but I'm just saying. Since ancient times, there has been an organization in this world that has been overseeing history from the shadows. They are called Idea. They prevent mankind from making mistakes by a variety of means, so that we can achieve our correct fate. I am one of the apostles of Idea. What? It all sounds like some sort of joke, but Saint Germain is completely serious as he tells me about it. And I like this because, like, obviously, like, you can't go down this path unless you go down his, so you kind of already know this. Otherwise, it would totally ruin his path, right? But I kind of like that they don't forget. Like, some of the other things, like, Impey being a vampire is probably, maybe it'll come out in this, but it's not really important to the story, the overall. You know what I mean? Like, Victor's thing, we kind of already wrapped up his thing, and the queen being a psycho crazy bitch. I mean, that was just a plot point in his, right? On his sidetrack. And like, this is obviously the canon path, but like, all of Saint Germain and like his motivation and everything, you never found that out until you got into his path. It was really like, oh, I just stabbed, and he brought up Idea, and he stabbed Finis, and then it's like, the fuck was that? So of course this kind of has to come out at some point. Like, you know, Imbe being a vampire doesn't have to come out. He's a genius engineer. You kind of, like, you know what I mean? Van Helsing, the vampire worst, all of him being injected with superhuman strength doesn't have to come out. Like, it doesn't cause huge holes in the plot. But, like, Saint Germain knowing nothing about him, you're like, what's his deal? If you only did, say, this path and you didn't watch any of the other ones, you'd be completely confused. But, like, you know, so it's interesting. Oh, you miss all the fun of him being stabby if you just watch this one playthrough, yeah? But it all sounds like some sort of joke. But Saint Germain is completely serious as he tells me about it. He's more serious than he's ever been in all of our time together. That alone is more than enough for me to know that what he's saying now is not a joke or a lie. Also, I don't think he's ever joked or lied, but he's always been a little crazy, but Idea is currently very interested in your existence. Me? Saint Germain stops. Yes, Idea believes that you are a mistake that must be removed. Before I can ask him what he means by that, I notice the tense expression on his face. He's looking ahead at an elderly woman seated in a wheelchair and another woman wearing a full suit of plate armor. The moonlight shines down upon them. The elderly woman has a kind smile, in contrast to the blank expression on the armored woman's face. There had been no one there a second ago.
It seems that Saint Germain has gone ahead and told you most of it. I feel like he's stolen our thunder.
Who are you? I ask her cautiously.
I am Omnibus, the leader of Idea. I've come to kill you.
What? Kill me? The words seem unreal to begin with, but to hear them from the mouth of a kindly old lady makes them seem even more surreal. Saint Germain, you bastard! Like,
I've come to kill you.
You wanted me to meet that you. Saint Germain, rude.
Isaac Beckford's daughter, and the one who is the key to initiating Code Realize.
An eternal war, spanning all nations, overseen by an absolute power. In order for Father to be reborn as a supreme power, he needs my spirit vessel, and sister, your heart. He needs the horologium. I feel like Finnis gets a different voice every time we do it too, whatever. This person must know about the plan Finnis spoke of. I become uneasy knowing that she's aware of who I am, and I feel my palms grow sweaty. And I also feel like that 89% of me that was trusting of Saint Germain is probably decreasing slowly, and we're like, damn, that was the wrong one. We shouldn't have trusted him that much.
The two of you are Isaac's cursed children. Neither of you should be allowed to exist in this world. You will derail mankind from its ordained history, causing a great disaster. That is what you siblings will do. As one who guards history, I cannot simply overlook this.
As Omnibus says this, the armored woman takes a step forward. At the same time, Saint Germain steps in front of me. What is the meaning of this? Saint Germain simply stares quietly yet resolutely at the two newcomers. I have finally made up my mind.
You're going to protect her. Perhaps you have grown too attached.
I won't deny that. However, more than that, I want to believe. Even if her existence is a mistake. The path that she walks upon could not be one. Saint Germain quickly flicks his wrists and a blade snaps out of his sleeve. Could we just have at least gotten open-eyed Saint Germain? And it's like, oh, now he's getting stabby with it. His eyes should be open. The woman facing him pulls out a huge sword from a scabbard on her back and takes a fighting stance. I like his tiny little blade against her giant fucking blade that is, like, bigger than her. You're saying that she is worth betraying us for? Yes, she is. At least to me. The atmosphere is extremely tense. I still don't quite understand the situation, and I'm about to try to reason with them when Omnibus speaks again.
Saint Germain, Guinevere, can the both of you please put your weapons away?
So the woman's name is Guinevere. She obeys Omnibus's suggestion and immediately stows her sword. Seeing her react this way, I can tell that Omnibus's words are absolute to her. Saint Germain puts his blade away as well.
You two are important assets to the forces of Idea. Now that Isaac's plan is in motion, I have no intention of losing you.
Then you'll allow her to go.
That's not what I said. I'm just going to change my approach.
Omnibus's wheelchair begins to move on its own. She stops in front of me and offers me a small bag. What is this?
Just a simple poison. If you take it, your death will be comfortable.
Poison? I hesitate, then look at Omnibus. You want me to kill myself with this?
I certainly would appreciate it if you would. I won't force you. However, a time will come when you yourself will have need of that poison. If you fall into Isaac's hands, the world will be engulfed in the flames of a never-ending war.
I don't know what to do. What Omnibus says is most likely true. If Father's plans require the horologium, then my death would be the most certain and least risky way to prevent it from getting into his hands.
What do you say?
Thanks?
Like, what do you say when someone gives you candy, little girl?
Thanks? I'll hang on to it. I quietly take the small bag from her and hold it in my palm. I don't even want to consider the possibility, but the chances are great that I will come to need this sometime soon. That explains our bad path. Are you sure? I'm just taking it. I don't need to use it. I smile at him so he doesn't worry. A new god overseeing an eternal war. It's probably better that I take the poison along with me than risk bringing something like that into the world. It'll be my final backup measure. It won't be a problem. Saint Germain stares at me for a moment, then eventually nods. All right, if you're fine with this.
Saint Germain, the world faces an unprecedented crisis. We have need of your strength for what is to come. I'd like you to be an ally until the end.
A breeze blows through the area. I'm distracted for a moment, and in the next second, Idea has disappeared. Miss Spacey. Saint Germain looks at me concerned. I'm fine. I look at him and smile. Thank you for protecting me. No, I wasn't able to protect you. I haven't been able to erase any of the things that bring you pain. He says this with a melancholic smile. He's just fucking melancholy on the inside, isn't he? My mind wanders. As I lay in my bed in a daze. Victor was considerate enough to bring me some special sleeping goods from the mansion, so I'm free to toss and turn. Thanks to that, laying down should be a comfortable affair. And yet, I can't sleep. It's probably only natural, considering everything that's just transpired. Now whose turn is it? In the end, after some thought, I decided to go outside once more to feel the cool night air, and then someone else comes out, and then we go back to sleep, and then we come out, and we're going to meet all of them. Yay! I walk around aimlessly, then settle down in a space between two shops. There's an endless stream of steam and metallic sounds from a nearby factory. It's hard to believe that this place is currently in the middle of a war. What's that saying? Calm before the storm? I mumble to myself, then I put a hand in my pocket and pull out the item I had put in there. The poison Omnibus gave me. Under the moonlight, the small bag casts a shadow upon my palm. If I take this, I will die. Is death really accurate when it comes to me? I waste time thinking about this pointless distinction, but I can tell that I'm only trying to avoid the real issue.
Even this musing is disturbed by the sudden sound of muffled explosions in the distance. The noise snaps me back to reality. Even now, as I sit here in contemplation, people are fighting and getting hurt, even losing their lives. Huh? That's when I noticed for the first time my arm is trembling. My entire body is trembling, actually. I find myself fearing the reality of death that faces me. And while I'm thinking about these worries, a particular thought comes to me. I'm afraid to die. My voice sounds so utterly cold and detached, it's hard to believe that it's my own. I'm gonna guess it could be Lupin. I'm not sure, but like... So someone is saying, hey, what are you doing out here? You should stay put in your own room. God damn it, I was right. Shit! I should have said it in his voice. I was going to, and then I was like, it's probably not going to be him because I've been really good at guessing who it is that sneaks up behind us. There's a whole entire chapter. I'm like, oh, I'm going to read that in Victor's voice. That sounds like Holmes. Sholmes. That was Lupin. Hey, what are you doing out here? You should stay put in your own room. I was lost in my own thoughts and didn't notice anyone approach me. Of course it's him. I had to be. Like, it'd be great if some of the other guys came out, but at the same time, we can't keep doing this coming outside, new guy comes out, coming outside, new guy comes out. So it has to be Lupin because we're on his path, so he, of course, should be the one that comes out to us, you know? I look up to see Lupin, who looks a little annoyed. I quickly hide the small bag that I've been holding so that he doesn't notice it. Lupin, why did you come out here? Same to you. You shouldn't be out alone. So, what is it? Did something happen? What? Don't you what me? You look like you're about to burst into tears. It's nothing. You're imagining things. Lupin stares at me for a moment, then mutters, if you say so. I'm ashamed of myself for considering taking my own life so easily, thinking back on all the things Lupin's done for me. I feel another wave of self-loathing come over me. Oh, sad. He's a wonderful man who saved me. His kindness and sincerity are like a ray of light that shines upon everyone around him. I really think that he's the complete opposite of me. Thoughts like these cause a prickly pain in my heart. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Then, I guess, I'll just take a little break here too. He doesn't criticize me for leaving my room. He simply sits down next to me. And I know why he would do something like this for me, and what it means. I understand it perfectly. Right now, he's trying to console me because I looked sad. He doesn't even ask for an explanation. CG. Give us a CG. He's sitting close by. He's demonstrated his kindness to me any number of times now. He doesn't have to say anything at all for me to understand what his intentions are. Lupin, that's the very reason why. I can't help but ask him about it. Why have you done so much for me? Perhaps I'm being a little too vague as Lupin looks at me suspiciously. It just doesn't make sense. I don't bother explaining myself. The words simply pour out of me, goaded on by emotions. My poison, my secret, they don't have anything to do with you. My hands clench into fists. I want him to understand how I feel, but I'm not able to find the right words to describe it. The slight sense of indignation makes my words all the more forceful. I don't understand why you would go through all you've done to help me. I don't see why you're risking your life for me. But even after I tell him everything, he simply smiles his usual smile and shrugs his shoulders. Why am I helping you? Because I'm a hero. Isn't that good enough for you? This causes an inexplicable anger to build up inside me. What do you mean, hero? Is that really a good enough reason for you to get hurt? I'm desperate. Finis and Omnibus, recalling what they told me, flusters me even more. This mission could cost you your life, right? There's a chance you might die. I'm a doll, a monster, merely a tool for the horologium to be transformed. My existence is an insult to humanity. I shouldn't be allowed to live. It's so sad. Just being alive brings misfortune to those around me. I'm happy that you would save me. I'm so thankful more than words can express, but you might die. I'm shouting now, pummeling him with all the fear that's been lying in my heart. Why would you do that for me? Why? The anger turns into sadness trapped within my heart, unable to find release. And here's why boys in these games are better than real ones. Because if you're like, why are you doing? They'd be like, Jesus Christ! And they would get all mad and storm off and not be like, there, it's okay. I know you love me, darling. And he's going to be like, are you stupid? I'm in love with you. Jesus, God, you're dumb. But you're so cute when you're being stupid. Anyway, let's go back home. Like, what? Yeah, that's basically how boys in these things are, right? Why? Click, fast. I have 2 reasons. When Lupin finally breaks the silence, his voice is soft. The first one, you're right, this is your fight, but it's mine as well. He looks me right in the eyes, like he did that night long ago when he stole me away. I can see the moon reflecting in his eyes. As I've said before, this terrorist plot isn't completely unrelated to myself. He continues, though he seems a little hesitant. I got the information about this plot from my teacher. A teacher? Yes, the man who taught me the skills necessary to survive, and the meaning of justice. I know at some point we were going to get like a little Lupin backstory, and I feel like this is where it's going to happen. Because it's always like, at some point when we're sitting alone with them, perfect time. Is it usually at night? I feel like it is. This is the first time it occurs to me. I don't know much at all about his past. Of course, I know how he came to be in London, and how he met Impey and Saint Germain. But I know nothing about his life prior to that. How did he come to decide that he wanted to stop these terrorists? And what made him become a thief in the first place? I suppose I've never told you why I'm here right now, why I'm so desperate. He sighs, then begins to tell me, almost absent-mindedly. He looks up at the moon with a wistful look in his eye. And now we have to read this whole thing in his voice. I was just the sort of kid you could find anywhere. Oh my god, are we gonna get a baby Lupin CG like we had a baby Impey one? Oh god, I hope we do. And like Van Helsing's one we had a baby Van Helsing, but he was just like slightly younger. Not like baby Impey where he was like, look at this cute little baby face! I hope we get a cute little baby face freaking Lupin one. I want a little baby Lupin. An orphan with no parents or family. I lived in Paris, pickpocketing every day just to get by. I guess I had a talent for it. Lucky for me, I was never caught. Not even once. I guess that's not completely true. I did get caught once. I think I was around 10 years old. I tried to grab a guy's wallet, but the moment I touched it, he grabbed my arm. I resisted, but it was all over. Or so I thought. He tried to pickpocket a master thief and I love it! Instead of hauling me off to the police, he said to me, you lack fundamental skills, but you have potential. I can teach you the real way to be a thief. That's how I met my teacher. He was one of those honorable thieves. He would steal from those who made their money dishonestly and pass it along to the poor. Oh my god, his name was Robin. Of course. His fucking teacher was Robin Hood. And that was his job. I respected him. I was just a kid, and I genuinely thought that what he did was the most amazing thing in the world. I mean, I still do think that he was amazing. He never told me his name. I found it later on. But even now, I just think of him as my teacher. How weird is that? You are obviously had this person in your life for a long period of time, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you my name. You're like, okay, sensei. The fuck? Dude. I mean, oh my god! Weird! I just think they were like, I never learned his name because we don't have a good name, because maybe they couldn't use the Robin Hood name. Like, his name was Dr. Hood. Yeah, I learned a lot from him. Infiltration, escape, theft, fraud, disguise. He taught me all the skills that come to mind when you think of thieves or spies. And then I don't know when I asked him, why is he teaching me so much? And he told me, I have done many dark deeds. Some I did unknowingly, and others I committedly full aware of the evils I was doing. The reason why I steal for the poor, and why I'm teaching you the skills for survival, is to atone for my sins. I know that none of this will forgive me of my crimes, of course.
I know I could be reading it in his teacher's voice, but whatever. Lupin's telling us the story, so this is what he would be saying.
And that's about it. He never told me any more about it. Instead, he would say, it doesn't matter what others believe to be right, but always abide by this. Protect your own definition of justice and faith with your very life. That's your only true guide to this world. It's what I was never able to do. Those words struck me deeply, and they still hold great meaning to me even to this day. As to who exactly my teacher was, I found that out much later. That's right, long after that incident. Several years later, I trained and honed my skills under his tutelage.
Years, and you never know his name, you just call him teacher.
To be completely honest, I had far surpassed him in terms of pure technique. It was then I found out by coincidence. My teacher had stopped giving the money he stole to the poor. He had tricked me and taken advantage of me. He used the money I'd stolen to create a criminal organization. It was a huge shock. I hadn't expected that at all. Oh my god! Oh! You hurt Baby Lupin! Oh, Baby Lupin trusted you and you betrayed that! Oh! My body felt as heavy as lead. My teacher had been like a father to me. He's like the only one he ever had because he was an orphan. Oh, poor Lupin, you're betrayed by the person you loved. For a person like that to betray you, you never know what'll happen in life. I tried to make him stop, but he wouldn't listen. He cut me out of his life instead. And it's raining! Oh, just to punctuate the sorrow. Poor Baby Lupin. It happened on a rainy day. And then I was lost, not knowing what to do.
I feel so bad for all of them. Because Victor's like, I did this great thing and I was trying to do, and then they killed a bunch of people and I'm horrible. And Himpei's like, I had this great man who taught me and he loved me and then he died. And Van Helsing is like, Alistair was like my mentor and then he tried to kill me. Oh. And Saint Germain is like, I was supposed to kill a whole village, but I felt really bad about killing this poor kid and I was really nice and then a whole bunch of people died. Oh, they've all been betrayed by their feelings, and yet they still love us anyway. Because, again, this is why Romancy Otome men are better than real men. Because if this shit happened to a real man, I'm never trusting anyone again. And that'd be it. That'd be it. Trust issues forever. And they're meanwhile like, the person I love the most in the world betrayed me, but I still love you more than anything, and it'll be fine. Okay. I mean, we're not going to stab you in the back, but I'm just saying. The criminal organization that my teacher had created was one that preyed upon the weak. And that organization was operating off the money I had stolen. It troubled me. It troubled me a great deal. And then I made up my mind. My teacher taught me how to survive. He gave me a principle to live by. No matter how he betrays me, my heart will always feel awe and respect for him. What would the version of him that I feel in my heart do if he uncovered a criminal organization like that? When I thought of it that way, the answer was obvious. I will bring down this organization and open my teacher's eyes. I will kill you. I thought it was a brilliant idea. I thought we'd be able to start over again. I infiltrated the organization and stole all their stored riches and found evidence of their crimes. I donated the money to several different orphanages and anonymously submitted the evidence to the police. But before the police could get involved, the organization collapsed in on itself. There was internal discord. It was because I had driven them into a tight corner. They started looking for a traitor among them and ultimately killed one another. Oh. Your daddy figure died, didn't he? Look at little baby Lupin! like 10 or so, so it was like a few years later, so he's like probably like 15 or something. Like, oh, look at little Lupin, he's so cute and innocent. Look at his sweet little baby face. Oh.
I was at my teacher's deathbed. That was on a rainy day as well. Bad things happen when it rains. It's like rain on your wedding day. It's ironic, don't you think?
I'm sorry.
Always. He'd been tossed into a back alley like an old rag. He looked like he'd been through some cruel torture, and he had a deep wound that seemed to be critical. I could see at a glance that they'd done some terrible things to him. I thought he was already dead. But he looked at me and smiled. He said something to the effect of, "It's nice to know that you would shed tears, even for someone like me."
Oh, bye, baby Lupin face. Oh. I love the flashback ones.
I pretended to be his son and made the arrangements for his funeral. And I organized his possessions that he left behind. That's when I found out who my teacher truly was. It was in a handwritten note that I found among his things.
Oh! Van Helsing? Sorry.
My teacher had originally been an agent belonging to Twilight, a member of Britain's intelligence agency.
Van Helsing? What? Alistair? No. Well, we know that Alistair's not dead, so... Everyone's so intertwined. Like, Victor's poison helped kill a bunch of people in the Vampire War, and Van Helsing killed vampires, and is basically probably at fault for killing Impey's little daddy. And Alistair is evil, and was manipulating him, and that's why he did all these horrible things. And then they were in Twilight, and Lupin's daddy figure was part of Twilight, and Saint Germain is just, you know, the one who's like killing people because God and all, whatever. It's his fault the Black Plague happened, but I'm, you know.
Gasp. It seems he was quite skilled, and he was ranked pretty high too. I'd heard that Twilight was an excellent intelligence agency. His skills and knowledge were well beyond those of an average person. I was surprised, but it also made a lot of sense.
They never tell you his name. It's like, I found out who he was. I never learned his name until later. But Agent of Twilight was apparently his name.
I remember exactly what the note said. I made my escape from Britain when I saw what Isaac Beckford's plan, Code Realize, entailed. It terrified me. I may have been able to stop it if I tried. And I can tell that the regret of giving up slowly is eating away at my soul. And here's what it said at the end. Isaac, I ran from that place so that I could stop him someday. And yet, no, perhaps it was inevitable that I would end up like this since the moment I ran. My teacher had run away from some plan, and it haunted him. And I am his student.
Teacher, this person raised Lupin and taught him everything he knew about gathering information. He ultimately fell to the temptations of greed and created a criminal organization, which was later dismantled through Lupin's handiwork.
Which also killed him, by the way.
So, in order to carry out the justice that he'd never been able to, and to find out what this plan was that tortured him so badly, I came to London. You know the rest. I realize by the tone of Lupin's voice that he's reached the end of his story. The origin of the great Arsène Lupin is something of a tragic story. I feel like I've touched on a part of his life. It happened a long time ago. Cheer up. But do you understand now? I have my own reason for fighting.
My God, there's a lot of glossary terms in his.
Arsène Lupin, past. He destroyed a criminal organization using the thieving skills and techniques he learned from a certain man. This incident resulted in him losing a parental figure.
Oh, poor baby.
A long time ago. He laughs and talks about it as if it doesn't affect him. But the story was probably not as easy to put in the past as he makes it seem. I can sense it just by looking at his face.
Thank you for telling me. I understand why you would risk your life for this. Lupin looks at me and smiles. All right, but I'm not done yet. I told you I have 2 reasons. Would you care to guess what the other one is?
You love me?
I spend a moment to think of what it could be, but I come up with nothing. I don't know.
Hmm.
He's gonna tell us he loves us.
Sort of. Or he's gonna hint at it anyway, like,
Here's a hint then. What's the difference between a monster and a human? I don't know what he means, but I instinctively flinch at the word monster. I don't know that either. I don't know what he's thinking, seeing me this way, but he has some sort of grimace as he speaks to me kindly. Humans aren't people when they're born. They become human for the first time once they've truly loved someone. So it's about whether someone is capable of love or not. I think that's the difference between monsters and people. Whether one can truly love or not. I think for a while, then look up. I think, Lupin, I love you.
we told him! And then he looks shocked, like, what? Wait, this is my line!
And Victor and Van Helsing, Impey Saint Germain. I enjoy being with all of you so much, and I feel so at ease. Isn't that what love is?
And he's like, and he was like, when she's like, I love you, and he's like, he was so shocked instead of happy about it. He's like, what? And then she's like, I love all of you, and he's like, oh, wow, crushed my soul there, Spacey, Jesus.
That sounds nice and fun.
Yes, it does.
But the kind of love I'm talking about is a little different.
What do you mean?
It's the kind of I love you that's given to one special person you care about most in the world. You'd gladly give up everything you have just to see them smile. That's the sort of feeling I'm talking about. I do have that. There is someone I feel that strongly for.
Van Helsing. No, I'm just kidding. But it would be great if they give you an option. I feel that way about Impey. And he's like, what the fuck? And you're like, I'm kidding.
Lupin is looking down on me kindly beneath the moonlight. A feeling both comforting and painful is spreading in my heart. I would gladly give everything I have, everything in the world, if that special feeling is what it means to love someone. Then, when I think of someone and I feel that way, it means he's the one I... Lupin, is there anyone you feel this way towards?
I'm sorry. I just imagine Lupin goes, Impey. And she's like, what? Oh my god. That would be the best dick move a game has ever pulled, right? You're like, son of a bitch. Like,
yes, there is.
When I hear that, my chest tightens, and I feel like I'm suffocating. And then I realize
it's because I want to be Lupin's special someone. I want him to say that he loves me. That's why it's become so painful to stay by his side. It's because I've realized that there's no way a monster like me could be good enough for someone like him.
I like her derpness. Like, obviously, when like, duh, he's in love with you, stupid. But, like, she's like, oh my god, he loves someone else and it's not me. I want him to love me, but it's probably someone else. But it's like, I love this because that's 100% me. Like, I could literally be having this conversation with somebody. Like, oh, so there's someone you're in love with? There is. And they could look at me and I'd be like, damn it, that sucks. It's never me. And I would just walk away and they'd be like, I was talking about... Because Spacey is fucking stupid. I am dumb. And she is derpy, but it's okay because he's not going to be like, oh, he's going to be like, I love you, stupid. And she's going to be like, oh, glad of that. Or, you know, she's not going to be too much of a coward to, like, be like, I love you. I mean, she technically already said it, but...
I do love someone. I wouldn't even think twice about giving my life for that one person. That's the other reason why I'm fighting. His voice is soft and gentle. His words exude warmth, like they're wrapping themselves around something. I genuinely feel that I envy this person.
Oh, she's so derpy. That's so me. I'd be like, oh, I'm so envious of them. Not even realizing it's me, because I'm not the brightest crayon when it comes to that stuff. How happy that person must be to be loved by him. Staying by his side, talking with him, and laughing with him. And okay, and this is the funniest part though. Normal situation, right? Oh, person's talking to a bunch of people, blah, 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 blah. You'd think, oh my God, he's probably in love with that chick over there because she's like hot and he's like in love with you, right? Who in the world does she think that he's in love with? She's like, oh, Impey's a lucky guy. Does she think he's gay? I mean, the way the voice that we give him is a little flamboyant and, could be construed that way. But, like, seriously, the only other woman that's shown her face that he's ever had a run-in with is the queen. I'm just saying, it's a sausage fest in this mansion. When do you think he was out getting something? When do you think he met this woman that he's in love with? I mean, I guess it's a different time where it's like, I saw her once and I'm magically in love with her and we're going to live a fairy tale life. As opposed to, like, you get to know them and you're like, oh my God, he's so great. Oh my God, you're a bastard. Wow. Because that's the way it works in real life. Anyway. How full must their hearts be with their endless conversations and his smile. Oh, I love how he's like, she, and it's like, well... And she looks like this, and she's sitting right next to me, and she's like, man, that girl's lucky. Damn. And, like, we just still... Us and the point. The point is 5 miles above our head. We can't quite reach that high. Nothing goes over my head. I am very fast. I would grab it. We are not Drax. We cannot grab it. Anyway. That person, she's a little timid and cries a lot. That sounds like me. I'm not timid, but I can cry, but I cry a lot. I can't keep my eyes off her when we're together. I don't want to hear this. But I can't bring myself to move away either. She's really fearful when it comes to herself, but very brave when it's for the sake of other people. Oh, fearful when it comes to herself, but very brave when it's for the sake of other people. His words are so warm. Even I can tell how much he loves this person. Lupin stops abruptly for a moment as if debating something, and then opens his mouth again after a short pause. Oh, this is so cute. If she's still clueless after this, I don't know what to do for us. She's a foolish girl who, for some absurd reason, has convinced herself that she's some kind of monster. Huh? CJ! Oh, but his back is to us. Now I need to see his pretty face. Oh, the back of his head is still pretty. At first, I just felt like I needed to keep an eye on her. She looked like she'd given up on everything. I thought she was like a doll, and I don't mean that in a good way. I became involved with her to further my own agenda. I guess what I decided to do in exchange was promise to make her smile. His words spread through my heart. I can feel that warmth racing through my entire body, making me feel burning hot. Making me feel... I can't pinpoint the moment when I fell in love with her. This man always saves me. It couldn't have been when we first met, or it could have been when we first met. Or perhaps I gradually fell in love with her as we spent more time together. He really is... Ah! That was a little demonic, though, the head twist. Oh! Or maybe there wasn't any one particular moment when it just clicked. But this feeling is real, understand? He's always there for me, to save me. Human, monster, that stuff doesn't matter. Oh, he's so sweet. I love him. I love you. I'm dead serious. It occurs to me for the first time now. Every time Lupin has saved me, smiled at me, and lifted my spirits, I loved him a little bit more. I had grown to think of him as the most important person in this world. Fuck! We should have ended on that because we're at about an hour. We really should have. Hold on. You know what I'm going to do. Boop. Rewind. Yes, rewind. Backtrack one more so we can end on this CG. There we go. Perfect! Wait. Oh well, okay, that's fine. I was like, I wanted him just like staring into our souls as we end, but this is cute too. This is adorable. We're gonna end on this CG. So anyway, I am going to wrap this part up here. I love these things. I can't wait for the little romancy ones at the end. Oh God. Oh dear God, I'm gonna fall off my bouncy ball. And then I really, really can't wait for his special path because that's gonna be fucking amazing. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this part up here. Stare at his beautiful face while we end this. I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.